This is a Canadian city. It could be any city. It could be your city. But it happens to be Calgary, Alberta, population 170,000. This city is waiting for a bomb to fall, a hydrogen bomb of 5 megatons. Ground zero will be about here. Likely result if this city is unprepared, Calgary, Alberta, population 0. Though there might be survivors, a few hundred say, blasted, burned, suffocated. But this city is preparing in the only known way to prevent mass death, by planned withdrawal from the city. Organizing that withdrawal is the job of the civil defense organizations, city, provincial, and federal. It takes planning, meticulous, block by block, house by house, person by person planning. Calgary is divided into 4 civil defense subdivisions. For Operation Lifesaver, only the people in Subdivision B will be evacuated. Subdivision B is divided into sectors. Sector B3 is the one we're interested in. Weeks ago, in Sector B3, a census of transportation was made. Available cars were picked as evacuation vehicles and their owners notified. At the city's Civil Defense headquarters, the mayor and the Civil Defense controller wait for the secret hour of yellow alert, 10:50 hours. In Sector B3, Mrs. George LaPierre hears the sirens and checks her radio. At St. Paul's School, Dennis LaPierre, 8 years old, and Roseanne, 6, head for home by the most direct route. Civil defense authorities believe that where possible, families should leave the city together, so the instructions to all are head for home. George LaPierre locks the door of his engineering shop. Like everyone else in Sector B3, he knows exactly what to do. He will use his car for the withdrawal. That was decided in the census of transportation. Private cars will be the escape vehicles in this exercise, but in a real emergency, trains, taxis, and buses also would be used. For those who don't go home by car, the regular buses continue to operate for 30 minutes after yellow alert. Then they move out of the area. Plans call for the complete evacuation of Sector B3 in 1 hour. Dennis and Roseanne are the first LaPierre children to arrive home. Teresa, 16, and Darrell, 14, arrived from high school. Now all 5 children are home. Morris was already there. He's 2. Innisfail, a town of 3,500, about 90 miles from Calgary, also got the yellow alert. Like 16 other Alberta towns, Innisfail is a reception center, a haven for the city's displaced people. In Frank Churchill's auto agency, Civil Defense headquarters, workers are drawing their equipment and supplies. Helmets and hand warmers, stewing beef and soup kettles, armbands and canned plums. The evacuees must be fed and sheltered, perhaps for days. And in the vacant lot beside the curling rink, Mrs. Churchill and her volunteers start the stew. By the time George LaPierre reaches his home in Sector B3, his family is ready and waiting for him. With them, in addition to Morris, they take a survival kit, spare clothing, and enough food and water to last them through emergencies. From this point on, they've been instructed on every move they'll make. Your destination is Innisfail, and you will travel to that place by the light blue route. Go the shortest way to the Edmonton Trail, then follow the light blue signs. At assembly points, those without cars and those whose cars have room for passengers meet. Sector B3 has 4 points, and there are 18 in the whole subdivision. Spare space in the cars has been calculated beforehand. Each car has a sticker with its destination and the color of its exit route. No detail too small. No question but needs an immediate answer. Carelessness and delay can cause panic. Each of the main routes from the city is marked with signs in its distinctive color. Each is under the traffic control of the city police, RCMP, and the Army. Routes have been cleared of all incoming traffic and control points have been set up. The 17 reception centers of the Central Mutual Aid Area, Innisfail, Trochu, Drumheller, Rockyford, and the other towns and villages now are waiting for the evacuees. From cars and trucks operated by the Calgary radio hams, progress reports begin to pour into the communications center of the city headquarters. From each of the 5 sectors of the subdivision, from each of the sector's 23 zones. The rapidly mounting statistics of success begin to dot the big plotting boards in the operations room. Sector B5, Zone 21, 60% evacuated at X hour plus 30. Sector B2, Zone 14, 40% evacuated at X hour plus 40. The controller notes the trouble spots, the lessons to be learned for the next exercise. Back in Sector B3, the wardens are finishing their house-to-house check and reporting to their assembly points. Some civil defense workers will now join the evacuation to help care for the evacuees. Others will continue their work in the doomed city, withdrawing to outlying shelters at the last moment, ready to return to the rescue of those who couldn't or wouldn't escape. At the city's outskirts, a warden makes a report in person. Everybody out. The city's main job is over. Now the provincial civil defense organization, with equipment and workers from all over Alberta, takes over. It directs and coordinates the traffic on the exit routes and the work of the reception centers. The province's mobile equipment waits outside the hangar which serves as headquarters, while advisors from the federal government and civil defense observers from the other provinces and the United States watch the first reports come in. 90% of the evacuation vehicles passed city limits 1 hour after X hour. First vehicles now reaching reception centers. City of Calgary, Civil Defense Subdivision B at X hour plus 60 minutes. In the empty city, police check buildings and streets to make sure everyone is out and to prevent looting. A pedestrian questioned by police explains his presence satisfactorily. To the north on the light blue route, spotters in a helicopter keep an eye on traffic. Instructions to drivers: obey police implicitly. Do not pass any moving vehicle. If you break down, move your vehicle off the road. Someone will pick you up. Capacity of the highways was not taxed. At one point, 1,200 vehicles passed in 1 hour. But by using both lanes, several times that number could have been handled. At Innisfail, civil defense checkers guide 84 carloads of people off the main highway. Other cars continue on to Penfold. The Lapierres are among the last to arrive, but still they make it in less than 3 hours after XR. Their first responsibility is to register with the Innisfail Civil Defense. Registration helps unite separated families, gives figures for food and shelter needs, and aids in casualty counts and identification. Next, food for a hungry family. Innisfail volunteers prepared food outdoors on the assumption that electric and gas services had been disrupted. The teams went into action from scratch at XR. They built a stove of concrete blocks and mud. By 3:30 p.m., a hot meal was ready and served to more than 300 evacuees. Innisfail workers even washed the dishes, but they recommended paper plates for the next exercise. The Lapierres, they didn't have to worry about the dishes, and they liked the meal fine. A patrol car arrives and reports to headquarters. Last evacuation car has arrived. Last person has been fed. Operation Lifesaver completed. The news goes to Calgary. Operation Lifesaver completed. The careful statistics and the general impressions, the mistakes and the triumphs, the apathy and the dedication. All this day's work will be studied for many months in this city and in other cities. But now is the time for congratulations. The city's civil defense has been tested and found good.
On behalf of the federal government, I wish to thank the civil defense workers and all the citizens who recognize the vital need of taking part in Operation Lifesaver. I urge all Canadian target cities to carry out evacuation exercises, not only once, but again and again. For it is only by continuous planning and repeated tests that you can be sure of a workable survival scheme. The swift movement to the countryside is your best protection against mass death. Civil defense provides that organization. It is up to you to learn how to use it for your own sake.